We in the building. The homies Mo and Glen ain't here, but we here. You're listening to All Burgundy and Gold Errything, powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM at 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. I'm Wole, and I'm joined with my guy, one of my main dudes, George. What's going on, George?
Well, I have to tell everybody
tell
to do the
how,
NBA draft thing.
Tell
I have to do this. I went to VCU, and a guy who played at VCU for 2 years just got drafted by the Wizards. So you ain't wiping this smile off my face tonight. No, sir. Nothing we're going to talk about, good or bad, is going to wipe this smile off my face. Welcome, Jameer Watkins, to the Wizards. Hashtag let's go VCU. Hashtag for the district. Yes, he played for the Seminoles, and that's where he was the last 2 years. I don't care. Once a Ram, always a Ram.
Tell him, George.
Way to go, baby.
How you feeling, George? Tell him.
Oh, I'm hurt. I'm so excited because it didn't even occur to me that it could happen. And somebody on Twitter manifested it, and it's happened. And you could see it in my face. Yeah, I'm grinning all night tomorrow, the whole weekend. I might even do a pod later over this. I'm so excited. I can't believe it.
Okay. That's okay. I mean, I know I'm going to try to do a pod about the Wizards for the Urban Sports. Actually, I'm going to try to do a pod for the Wizards stuff over the weekend. I'm going to try to do it over the weekend.
And if you did not watch or listen to any of Wole's stuff leading up to the draft, you missed a trick. I'm telling you, Urban Sports Scene with the guests and everything, fabulous job. Both the playoffs and the draft. If you didn't listen, you missed out. Go back and listen to some of them because even the post game stuff was a lot of fun to watch and listen to.
I appreciate that, George. Yeah, we had a good time. We had a bunch of good guests. Got a former NBA player DeMar Johnson on. We had obviously my guy Justin from the
Justin
podcast.
Lee.
It's awesome. He's a great guy.
Top shelf.
Yeah, top shelf, man. He knows this stuff. We have a bunch of
other thing. Every time you think of Bradley Beal, laugh at him. Every chance you get, laugh at Bradley Beal. Just don't forget that either.
I ain't gonna get on Bradley Beal. Everybody know how I feel about Bradley Beal. It's not personal. It's just that I just didn't like how folks were choosing him over John Wall. So it is what it is. And now look at him.
For that reason, it's kind of personal with me.
Yeah, exactly. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a little bit personal. But anyway, hey, we gotta talk about some Commanders stuff. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Errything. Also tweet us at ABG_Errything. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_Errything. Also, make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Gold Errything YouTube channel. Also, you're feeling generous, man, hit us up with a super chat on YouTube. We'll prioritize your comments. So feel free, hit that $ chat. We're gonna prioritize it. We're gonna put it at the top, and we're gonna make sure we discuss that first. We're also being streamed on the Urban Sports Scene X account. So make sure if you're watching this if you're trying to watch this on X, you can always go there. But I kind of prefer y'all be on YouTube. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like the YouTube number, so stay on YouTube if you can. Anyway, it's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. We'll debate what's the floor and ceiling for the Commanders for the upcoming season. And hey, George, take it away.
Well, that's the question. Now, of course, we're going to assume one big thing. Jaden Daniels completes, and I mean starts and finishes at least 75% of the season, which is 13 games.
Yeah.
So this is not – because if he goes down in week 1 and all of it goes out the window, even though Mariota's done well in the backup role, let's be realistic. We can't expect much if Mariota's got to play more than half the season, more than a quarter of the season. So what is the ceiling for Washington, presuming that Jaden Daniels – plays most of the season or plays the entire season? What is the ceiling?
I mean, the ceiling for me is the Super Bowl. I just have that much. I have that much belief in Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels, I feel like he can carry the team, and just with the offensive weapons they do have, I do think it's good enough for him to kind of get this team to the Super Bowl. I mean, we have questions, and we'll talk about the floor because of the defense and what maybe they may be lacking. But I feel like the ceiling is this team being the best offensive team in the NFL. I think that's the ceiling. I think Jayden Daniels being an MVP is the ceiling. Paul's on here saying 14-3 terms of record Super Bowl. I mean, 14 years is it's hard, man. Like, especially I'm not gonna like go out and say like the record, because I think 14-3 record wise, knowing that you're gonna have a tougher schedule, it's gonna be a little bit, it's hard to say getting 14. You won, like they won 12 games last year, and you're gonna have a harder schedule. So being 14-3 is gonna be tough. Yeah, think about it. You can't slip up. And then everything's not like, I think I've spoken to a lot of content creators and whatnot, and a lot of them mentioned like even last season we had a lot of games that we could have lost. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to say like 14-3 or something like that. What I will say is that regardless of what it is once they get into the postseason, they're a problem. That's the thing. Like, I don't care about your 14-3 hosting a game. Once you get into the postseason, you're a problem. Like, the record to me, it doesn't mean anything to me in terms of how it ends, right? Like, we've seen teams have great records. Detroit, went into the season had a better record than Washington, and they fell to Washington, right? These teams, it doesn't matter about the record. It matters about how you finish. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like when you have a quarterback like Jayden Daniels, it's about how you finish. And I think you got a finisher. Like, you know what I mean? Because you can, let's be real, it's hard to win games on Sundays, every game. Like, it's hard. And Washington it wasn't like we were blowing teams out 24/7, right? It wasn't like that. Like, we hit in the beginning, we were, so give them credit. we were scoring 30. We were blowing some squads out. We always talked about last season how this team, we didn't feel that much pressure like in the fourth quarter in some games, and that was kind of new to us, right? But but to me, that the ceiling is like this team playing good football towards the end of the season, being like they were last year, being the hottest team and winning a bowl. That's the ceiling for me.
I'm going to disagree with you slightly, and only in this respect, and that is the record, and I'm with Paul, not just on 14 wins, because everything you said. If they reach the ceiling, 14 wins is the ceiling, because it's a tougher schedule, because more teams are going to take them seriously. They're going to be. It's not going to be quite as big as having Super Bowl champions coming into your town. But when Jayden Daniels comes into town, that's going to be a big deal for everybody.
Agreed.
So, and the record is important for this reason, because what's the ceiling? Number 1 seed in the NFC, which is crucial. It's critical.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this team won on 2 games on the road last year and beat the number 1 seed on the road. But when they had to win a 3rd game on the road, what happened? And I think we all know that we do not want to have to go to Philadelphia again in the playoffs.
That could have happened anywhere, to be honest with the way they played.
It could have. It certainly could have. But we also know that it would have been better. It would have been better not to be playing in Philadelphia in the middle of January. And I think that's important. So for me, number 1 seed, division winner, 14 wins, and you get to the Super Bowl. That is the ceiling, and the record does matter. And I'm with Paul. The record does matter because we've got to get over the Eagles if we're going to achieve these things, and it's going to be very difficult. And I think we're going to see some divergence maybe when we talk about the floor. But I love what you said about this being the best offense in the NFL, because that absolutely is the ceiling, and that should be the goal, and it is attainable. Because whatever people think of this offseason, they have addressed the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They have addressed the lack of depth in the receiver room. They've tried to address running back, even when you look at it. Even if you don't think taking a guy in the 7th round is a big deal, it still was using a draft pick to try to help it.
It's capital.
They have addressed everything on offense that needed to be addressed. There's maybe 1 or 2 things you could argue that they didn't do. Maybe some more depth on the offensive line. You could argue that, like backup center in particular, and maybe a better tight end. Although you still have Zach Ertz, who was incredibly productive. Had an Indian summer type of a season last year.
Mm-hmm.
They've addressed everything on offense. Being number 1 or number 2 in the league, whether it's yards, scoring, or both, is the ceiling, and I think is a reasonable thing to aim for.
I mean, I feel like, to your point, 14, that's records are like, I'm not saying it's not important, but I feel like with this offense, I don't really look at Washington like we've shown that they can go in the road and play anywhere. I get what you're saying with Philadelphia, but if you play with that type of deep, like, and then we're gonna get into the floor, but your defense plays like it did before, it won't matter where you play at. It doesn't matter.
No,
Like you
that's
saw,
true.
like in
That's a
Detroit,
fair
you saw in
point.
Detroit when they forced all those turnovers. That crowd was raucous, but they forced turnovers. That defense played better, and you can make the argument that Detroit kind of let them off the hook by not running the football. So like,
Yep.
it don't that like running. We watch football all the time. Like, this is the thing about the NFL. Like we know this, and it's like that's like not act like this doesn't happen in all of the NFL, and especially in the playoffs. If you run the ball on the road in the playoffs, you win football games. Teams were able to run against. That was the problem. Like the Eagles were able to run. They did that at home. That was still going to be a loss. Like, don't get like running. Like we've seen this in all eras of football. Like we've seen it. Like the team that wins the trenches typically does what, George? They took in the
Wins
playoffs.
the
They
games.
typically win the game. So that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like I get, like I'm with you. Like I'm not diminishing the record 14-3. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, the ceiling. But like that's something that we're gonna have to discuss too. Is of the floor. If they don't stop the run in the postseason, I don't care how good Jaden Daniels is, they're not winning football games. It's the same thing. Like I'm gonna be real with you. Go back and watch the New England Patriots, Peyton and Colts. Like Peyton Manning was putting up MVP seasons. What happened was they couldn't stop the run, and then Peyton had to force the issue. And time of possession, ball control. They weren't able to get.
And they also had to play outside a lot. That was
exactly that. But a lot of times when they played, even wherever they played at, whenever they played at, that was the problem. If you look at if you can't stop the run, which they didn't do last year, that's what I'm going to use. Like, and it's something we're going to have to talk about. You know, when we talk about the opposing side of the argument, it don't matter where you play them at. Like we can score as many points as you want to, but if the other team has the football, if they got Saquon Barkley and they're willing to give the ball to Saquon Barkley all the time, it don't matter where you play this team at. Because we could have made like we said this against the Lions. If they decide to give the ball to Gibbs all the time, we don't win that game. We don't.
No
and that
question
travels. So if you can't stop the team, if you can't, are we trying to say that Washington stops the run better at home? Because we saw games where they didn't during the regular season. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's why the floor, like to me when I'm looking at it is like record, depending on how the team as a whole, if they can play better as a whole. Obviously, I feel like Jaden can lead you over the hump. Like as a whole, if you're able to play good football, then they're going to be great. The ceiling is the Super Bowl. But like I don't get into like the record because the Eagles, if they play the Eagles and the Eagles were here or whatever, I feel like they're good enough to be if we're talking about this team's improved in terms of stopping the run, it don't matter where this team plays. It plays anybody because you got a guy who can score 30 on the road and on the road or at home because we've seen it. Tampa Bay, he scored 30 against Tampa on the road. It's not like this is not a thing. Like we score everywhere. That's not a thing. It's not about we score everywhere. That's not. So we're talking about the offense. That's the ceiling. Like that's what I said. The offense is gonna. I feel like it could be the number one offense. That's the ceiling for like. It's all about the other side catching up. But the offense is gonna score. Like we scored 30 easy, man. Like even against the Eagles on the road, we still scored. We moved the football. That wasn't like a thing. It was the opposite. It was the other side. So like that's the thing we like.
And turnovers.
And turnovers, but still we still scored though, right?
That's true.
And the defense couldn't. They didn't like like Saquon had big runs 24/7. So I'm just saying like let's not
from
act
literally
like,
play one.
Huh?
From literally play one.
Play one. That's what like I'm like. What are we doing here? Like I'm not gonna make it up and say like we stopped the run at home. Like I'm not doing that. Like I'm not doing that. Y'all not gonna give me on that type of argument. Like I feel you. Like Paul, I feel you, but you ain't gonna get me on we stopped the run at home. Like that's the thing. We gonna score with you though. We still gonna score with you. We may score better at home. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. We may score slightly better at home. I'm not gonna lie to you and say we're not. But is that going to deter them from running the football? I don't know. But the ceiling at the end of the day is still like, yeah, Super Bowl because of Jaden Daniels. That's the ceiling for me. And we could talk about anything else, but in terms of like that to me, but I'm not gonna go into the argument of because Paul, I love you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You always say 14-3, and I feel you. And because 14-3 don't mean nothing to me if you ain't finishing the deal. Like that's why I said the hot streak at the end. I'd rather be the hottest team going in rather than the record being 14-3. I'd rather be the hot team going into the postseason. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If the defense, yeah, Zach, there you go, Paul. Like I said, to your point, well, if the defense, yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it's not going to be 14-3 if the defense is better. It's way better. I do agree with that. That's the ceiling. Like the ceiling is about the defense. Now, what is your belief on the defense? Or how good do you think the defense is going to be? To me, that's the ceiling. So I'll put. Let's phrase it this way, George. What's the ceiling on the defense?
The ceiling on the defense is just touching the top 10.
Okay.
Like being somewhere between 9 and 12 in terms of either points allowed or total yards or both.
Okay.
Because let's also say this, and I know this has been a big point of contention all over social media and Raise Hail X, Twitter, whatever, Facebook, and all that. You know, and the criticisms are fair. You can argue they did not do enough to address what was going on defensively.
Yeah.
But they addressed that secondary, which was the biggest problem, in my opinion. They have tried to address the defensive line.
Okay, but I say stopping the run was the biggest problem, for real.
Stopping the run was the biggest problem, but that secondary was really bad.
It was.
And they have changed it, and they have improved it tremendously. And in a division that has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors in it, George Pickens in it, I think that is so important. And I do think, I'm a big Jordan McGee guy, and I think that he's gonna make a difference this year with his health.
Okay.
And I'm trusting Adam Peters on Javon Kinlaw. I know that's maybe a controversial with a lot of people. We've heard, our friend Coach Lombard really, really, really go against that and say it's not a good signing. We've had 49er fans who are not big fans of his criticize that signing, criticize the money. Yeah. But I'm trusting Adam Peters on that. So I think the ceiling for the defense is being somewhere between 9 and 12. And if they're that good, if they're touching the top 10 or close to it, then we can achieve the ceiling that we've talked about overall.
Oh, wow. I don't have them in top 10. That's not my ceiling. That's not even – I don't think they're that – I don't think they could be there at this point in time as constructed, because I feel like it's not – that line has to be better for that to happen, like, to be real with you. So that's – and Kinlaw, I don't live off hope. I'll say that much. I don't live off hope like that way.
That's
because
fair enough.
I can only go off the body of work you said you showing me, and he's underachieved as when the Niners drafted him. They thought he was going to be the replacement to their interior. I forgot a couple guys that were really good. What's the guy that got traded to the Colts? Really?
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking of that.
He was supposed to replace him. He was supposed to replace him, and it's the tip of my tongue. It's blowing. He's light skinned too. The tip of my tongue. But anyway, like, he was supposed to replace him, and he wasn't. They got him out of South Carolina. He was supposed to be a dog, and he wasn't. Like, that's what it was. That's why he got traded to the Jets, like ASAP. Was it the Jets he got traded to? I want to say the Jets or somebody else he got traded to, but ASAP he got traded, and it wasn't like they had him long enough. So he hasn't produced. He's a big body. He's an athletic big body, and you're hoping that translates because Adam Peters was involved in getting him. You know what I mean? So obviously he has a relationship with him. So I hope Kinlaw does pan out. Local kid, I'm not rooting against him. I'm rooting for him. So if he can help stop the run, I'm all for it. The Flores defense is somewhere near the bottom half. Yeah. Hovering. Yeah, Kelly, I'm with that. Like, they're hovering. Oh, okay, my man. We got Glen in the building. Okay. Hold up. What's going on, Glen?
What's up, fellas? What's going on, man?
Good, man? Like, okay. That's what's up. I'm happy about that. All right, yeah. But I feel like the ceiling for the defense for me, and I like what Kelly is pretty much where I'm at, hovering around. Like, I feel like 15 is the ceiling on this defense, because I don't like not having it, like, and we'll talk about the edge rusher situation. You're going at like edge rusher by committee type of thing, and also interior, and even in the interior, I can't make the argument they got better with the interior. I can't make that argument because, again, I mentioned the Kinlaw, he's an underachiever. Like, he's an underachiever in his football career. And looking at, and we got to see, and I like Jazan. But again, even with Jazan, I'm not sure, because what you pay Kinlaw, he's not the starter. Now, if you're going to play Payne it in sometimes. He's not going to play in all the time, but put in Payne at end sometimes or design it in sometimes. You can have all of them on the field together. But again, they did that in the regular season. They did that last year. There were times where they did that last year. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. But I feel like if you're talking about where they can be in terms of defense as a whole, in terms of the whole defense, I think the secondary, to your point, George, can ball out. I am with that. Like, I think against the secondary, if you're telling me against the pass, I think against the pass they can be top, because they were top 10 last year against the pass. People didn't know they were top 10 against the pass last year. So I feel like the ceiling for the defense, for the DBs is against the pass, top 5. To be real with you, top 5, and I'll say this: lead the league in turnovers. That can be a thing. I feel like that will put them over the top. I think their ceiling is 15 as a whole, but leading the league in turnovers. I think that's the ceiling for the Washington Commanders on defense. Okay. I don't think they're a top 10 defense, but I do, just like we talk about the New Orleans Saints back in the day when they won the Super Bowl, they weren't a top 10 defense, but they led the league in turnovers, right? I think Washington has the ability to lead the league in turnovers. It's like and that's the ceiling for Washington. But I won't say they're going to be a top 10 defense. I won't go that far. George, what about you? Glenn, what do you think is the ceiling for this team on the defense?
Defense about 15.
15, yeah. About
15 halfway through. You can't go from they got to stop the run, right? Yeah, this team has to stop the run. It was the secondary did enough, right? Yeah. Secondary did enough for them to get to the NFC Championship.
Facts.
Right? When they got to the NFC Championship game, they got demolished because of the run. Truth be told, can we be honest here? Yeah, if we be honest, they shouldn't even got to the NFC Championship game if Gibbs keeps running the freaking football.
Facts.
Right? I agree. Because they were getting.
This is what Wole talked about earlier.
That defensive line was getting gashed. Yeah. Right? So again, they have to be able to stop the run. Got a lot of proven guys who are not proven up front, right? Mm-hmm. We do have a Deron Payne. I expect big things out of Deron Payne this year because it's a contract year. We know what's happened the last time he had a contract year. Yeah, he had a big year, right? So so money motivates people, right? Mm-hmm. And after he got his loot, he got his money, he disappeared. Y'all can come at me if you want to. It's the truth. Right, his numbers went down.
I can't argue with him. Right? I can't argue with it. He didn't show up. That's my guy.
So he didn't show up. So now, since it's the money year, he may show up this year because he want to get paid. Right. Mm-hmm. So that D line may be a little bit better. Secondary is good. Linebacker core is great. I want to see McGee some more in the linebacker core. Wagner's gonna Bobby, but you can't afford to take Bobby or Lugu off the field. So certain spots you may see McGee. So that to me in the top 15 it was great. Offense, but if defense has to be in top 15, offense got to be in top 5.
Yeah, we talked about that.
In order to balance it out.
Let me ask you that. I didn't ask you that. What's the ceiling for the offense for you then? Because you missed our conversation. What's the ceiling for the offense for you?
Ceiling for the offense has to lead the league in scoring.
Okay, it's just like we just.
I want to say they got to lead the league in scoring. You don't want to see a sophomore slump, but I'm the guy that I believe defense coordinators, anybody that has Washington on their schedule this year. Mm-hmm. Has gone and looked at how can we stop Jaden Daniels. And if they're really smart, they go back and look at the 2 Dallas Cowboys games.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and see what Dallas
did to bother him. What they did to bother him.
Yeah, because those 2 games was the worst 2 games of the year. Was the 2 Cowboys games.
Hey, but here's one problem: most of them teams don't have a Micah Parsons.
It wasn't even just Mike, but real talk, it wasn't just Micah that was bothering us. That's the thing that killed him. It wasn't. That's what bothers me. It wasn't just Micah. It was like, and they did it like. Don't get me started about that. Them games pissed me off because like they weren't even healthy when they were. It was something they were doing. I'm gonna be real. It was something they were doing.
Yeah,
because they weren't even healthy. Like the first game, they weren't even healthy. Like that was like they were wounded. Everybody was beating them too. Like everybody was beating the bricks off of them, and they got to us, and that bothered them. But that they competed. To Glenn's point, you're right. They did something. But I do want to talk about something Deluxe said. Wasn't the defense 16 last year? I thought it was 16-15, but I do think that to be honest, we can make the argument, Deluxe. I mean, like it, and I understand. Like you're going to say, you feel like they got better. I've had you speak on this topic about the defense a lot. You can make the argument that the defense got worse. You can make that argument, not just in terms of the line, not the secondary. I think secondary's been better. It's going to be better. So let me put that out there. But you can make the argument that the defensive line got worse. You can make that argument. Not saying it's factual, but you can make that argument. So that I will say. But I do believe that like the secondary's gotten better. To what George said, it's gotten 10 times better. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't think that they're going to be far away from, say, 15 or 12, 13. But I do think the real jump for this defense is leading the league or being the top 5, top 10 in turnovers and forcing turnovers. I think that's the thing they're going to look for, to be honest with you.
They didn't get any turnovers last year, and then also everybody got to stay healthy. If we get a healthy Marshall Lattimore, right?
Yeah.
You get a Lattimore, you get an Amos, you get a Mikey Sanders still. I mean, you get those guys where Ignoragami. So you got the secondary is healthy, then you're fine. Healthy linebacker. This team has to stay healthy on the defensive side of the football. Especially got to stay healthy on the offensive side of the ball. But defense, you can't. There's a drop off. Yeah. Unless we see something in camp, there's a drop off from what we think the projected starters are going to be on the front 4 or the front 7. So it has to be. You have to be able to stay healthy and have players to come and play. So
I'm gonna read some Deluxe. I agree with Deluxe. You said you can make any argument until the games happen. I think the defense is heavily improved on paper and stopping the run. Yeah, like I'm saying, we gotta wait and see. I don't think, like I'm saying, Deluxe. I could be wrong, so I don't want to put this out there. I don't think the defense got better at stopping the run. Personally, I don't know because I have to because again, Kinlaw has been an underachiever. I'm gonna be real with you. Now he has the size, but he's been an underachiever. I'm not gonna not, but again, I'm to your point. Who am I to say that maybe Joe Witt and that staff can unlock Kinlaw? To your point, like they can unlock him, and maybe they'll be better at stopping the run because maybe Kinlaw will play his role better, and all these other individuals will be better under the system. So to your point, you're right. Until the first game happens, then we'll know. I'm just going off of like the body of work of these individuals, and I can't come out and say like they're better because of Kinlaw, because that's the addition, right? That's the addition to the D line, to the D line. You lose it in terms of, Baptiste is now going to get more burn. So now people are thinking Baptiste could be a better player as a defensive end than some of the others. I can't make that argument because we have limited body of work. I like Jordan McGee. I don't know what he's going to do. I like him a lot personally, but I don't know what he's going to do with more burn and healthy. I don't know. No one knows. We just got to see the game. Just to your point, Deluxe, we got to see how the game pans out. So, but you're right though. Until we see the first game, then we can kind of assess what we think is going to happen. I don't assess like preseason training, like training camp. I'm not going to get hyped about, this person looks good and this, that, and the other, because that can go either way. You know what I mean? That can go either way. I'm going to listen to some people I trust, but that goes either way. A lot of times people kind of hype up everybody. They hyped up Luke McCaffrey. You know what I'm saying? They did. They hyped up Luke McCaffrey, and we didn't hear his name throughout the year. So it lets people were kind of excited and gassed up about Ben Sinnott. You know what I mean? We didn't hear anything about him. Not to say that these guys aren't going to be good. I'm just saying that's just sometimes that happens. You know what I mean? The coaches also have a full season of learning what they had and knowing what they needed. That's true. I'm saying we'll see. Like doesn't mean every time you think this play, anytime you sign a player doesn't mean that player is going to be a home run for you. Like as much as we like certain people that Washington got last year, there were some guys that didn't produce. There were some guys that didn't produce. You know what I'm saying? Like there were a lot of guys that did produce, but some guys they didn't hit on, and that's cool. That happens. That's football. Like you ain't gonna hit on everybody, but the ones they hit on, they were impact players for them, and that's fine. That's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't bat 1,000. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm with you. Like we ain't gonna know until they play, right? We're not gonna know until they play.
And I think that's the key, though. You can't do what they did last year by letting last year didn't let Deron Payne or Jonathan Allen play the preseason. I think that hurt the defense early on, and it got into the groove. So what you have to do, if the guys that you mentioned that are unproven, right? The Kinlaws and all those guys, in my opinion, right? Nobody on this defense has the maybe Bobby Wagner.
That's the only one. Bobby Wagner should not.
Bobby's probably the only one that could probably sit. Everybody on this defense needs to play in these. They need to play in these preseason games.
Here. That's that. If I had a big criticism last year of Dan Quinn, it was how we used preseason. And I think it clearly showed itself in the Tampa game.
Yeah, that's messed up. None of Mike Davis. Yeah, Mike Davis, that was atrocious. I like this. Deluxe says, I'm posing a question to you, George. Deluxe says, what lessons do you think the coaches learned from the first year?
I hope the biggest one is don't play favorites necessarily. Play the guys that are playing the best. Because let's face it, that was for me in the running back room, that was an issue.
Okay.
The guys that were producing weren't getting that when they got the chance and produced, weren't getting enough chances. Chris Rodriguez in particular.
Yeah, okay.
And we had running backs who were getting the ball at the end of the year that weren't producing. And they weren't willing to do that. And I think that they weren't willing to look at those guys. And I think that was frustrating. So for me, that's the big one. Even if he's not your guy, put him out there. Especially if the other guys aren't.
Yeah.
That to me has got to be the biggest thing is being willing to play somebody else if it's not working. Just don't beat your head against the wall like we did with these running backs at the end of the year last year. Because I mean, I know I've gone on about it a lot, but I do not want to see Jaden Daniels having to do what he did the last month of last season.
Sure,
because that is trouble.
Hey, what's going on? The Cold Talker, man. Thank you from Greensboro, North Carolina in the house. Appreciate you guys for being on. Appreciate you.
Good to have you.
Good to have you on.
Yeah, definitely good to have you.
Deluxe says completely disagree on running back. What other position did you see favoritism? You feel like favoritism running back? I feel like I kind of semi-agree. I know what George is talking about. Like, it's about the Chris Rodriguez thing, right? That's pretty much your favorite.
Yes.
You're referring to. I feel like Chris Rodriguez, I'm with you. I feel like he deserved an opportunity. Whatever reason, whatever happened, why he didn't get a chance, I don't know his favoritism, but I know, like, I'm with George. Like, he deserved an opportunity. And y'all know I like B-Rob too. So it's not like I'm anti-B-Rob. But I feel like Chris Rodriguez did deserve an opportunity. Because when he did produce, when he got the opportunity, he produced. And then all of a sudden he'll get ghosted, which is wild, right? Like, you think like, you want to kind of bank, you want to continue with that momentum. So I get what you're saying, George. I do. I totally get what you're saying.
And if you want another example, Deluxe, Percy Butler kept getting in the lineup when it was pretty clear that he wasn't up to scratch.
Man, I thought Defoe,
and that was that was getting on my nerves too.
I thought Defoe was better than Percy Butler. I kind of like that one. I know what you're going with. I know. Or even to be honest with you, I mean, in his word that he's gonna get the opportunity. I think to Deluxe's point, I think they kind of learned from it. What's my guy? Reeves. Now Reeves is going to get an. They say Reeves may get some opportunity playing safety, and I think Reeves is better than Percy Butler at safety. To be real with you, I think Reeves is better.
I hope so.
So yeah, I think to answer that question, I think they kind of learned from that mistake, though. I think giving Reeves an opportunity to play safety, I think they learned from that. Doesn't Jaden get partial blame for the amount of runs? He did call his number at times, or maybe he should have let. Yes, he did. He did do that.
I think there's something to that, Deluxe, but I think also.
I agree with that.
You could see in these games the running backs weren't producing, and that wasn't all their fault. We've talked about that, and I think Coach Lombard. I think there's something to that too. That some of the times it was scrambles. Yeah. But let's be honest. You think about some of the key situations, especially in the postseason. We got or actually go back to the first Philadelphia game, 3rd and short, 4th and short. What happened there? We had 3rd and short, ran the ball where the running back got stuffed, and then they tried that 4th down where it got all screwed up. That's the turning point of that game. You know, and I think that kind of led to what happened at the end of the season. So I think you're right, Deluxe, and you're right, Coach Lombard. But I think also Jaden was looking at what was going on. It's like, could he really trust his running backs to get that yard at the end of the season in those critical situations? The
Atlanta
game in Tampa, and it was the right play.
You're right. Pull the ball in Tampa. That game. I was going to bring that up too, George. He pulled the ball in Tampa, and that was the right play. 4th and 1. Late in the game, he gets the first down. Right, sets up the game-winning field goal. He pulled the ball there. We talk about the running game, and Jaden was the running game. This team finished 3rd in rushing yards in this league, 154 yards rushing per game. Most of those were Jaden Daniels. We talk about running backs. He really wasn't a running back. It was the offensive line. Let's be honest, right?
That's what I'm going to say too.
Yeah, so really wasn't off. It wasn't a running back. So offensive line really wasn't getting the push that they needed or creating the lanes they need. Especially when Biotish went out. Let's be honest. That was a hurt for them there. And so they had Cosby had gone at the end of the game. So they hadn't had a consistent offense in the season. So you had to have a consistent offensive line. I think they brought enough people in for competition to compete on this offensive line. Yeah. To make whoever win the starting job better, right? To make them better. So the competition is better. If the team does one thing, to answer the question, what the coaches could do better this year.
Yeah.
To me, sometimes game management and key situations were a little off for me.
Okay.
Especially in not necessarily the bigger picture, game management towards the goal line, not the 2-minute drill. This team did a great job in the last 2 minutes, right?
Facts,
Coaching staff in the 2-minute drill was great. It was amazing. I'm talking about in the middle of the games, right? This team the coaching staff did well coming out of from halftime. They did well.
Oh, they did well.
There was sometimes on the red zone, Cliff Kingsbury got too. To me, he got try to be too creative,
too cute. Yeah,
too cute. When you're in the red zone, inside the 10, there should be a rule. We had a rule. We run football, right? I don't care what it is. Inside the 10, there's no. But you try to do screens and all that, and there was some times they left some points on the board. I know they went on. I know somebody can say they went on a streak where they didn't punt the ball. That's fine, right?
Yeah.
But they still left some things on the board inside the red zone, and
7 field goals against the Giants, kids.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So and then also, and let's be honest, you go for it on 4th down. That means your 3rd down wasn't successful. So third down could get much better as well for this coaching staff. So you'll have to go for it on 4th down and use the analytics.
I do want to put out some comments. Joe said, "I love Tyler Owens. I hope he gets some reps this year. We'll see what happens in the preseason." All right, so you know what? Since we're doing ceilings and floors, what's the ceiling on Tyler Owens? I'm gonna start with you, Glenn.
Not 100% sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I'm not sure. Okay. You want to see?
Because I like him a lot too.
I do like him, but again, I want to see how. To me, when I look at things in the offseason, paper is fine.
Yeah.
I want to see when the bullets start flying. I do that with everybody. When people ask me about Shedeur Sanders, right? Yeah. I'm like, I want to see when the bullets start flying. Tyler Owens, I want to see when the bullets start flying, when there's pressure, when there's real competition. Right now, OTAs, mini camp, you're learning things you're going through. But when it's like you have to perform, right? Or you go down on the depth chart. I mean, look at John Bates last year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody. Can we be honest? Everybody was high on Bates going into.
He was all right. Bates it all right. You talking about Senate? You talking about Senate? Not Bates. I'm about to say
not Bates, but Senate.
I've been hating on Bates, and even I gotta say Bates did all right.
Everybody was high on Senate. Look what happened to Senate when the season came, right?
That's the thing. That's the thing. Yeah, he did.
It went away. So same thing with Tyler. I want to see what happens when the bullets start flying, when pressure gets real, and when the games mean something.
Yeah, I agree. I like him. I think the ceiling for him. I mean, it's all about opportunity, right? And I don't know if he's gonna get the opportunity. But if he gets the opportunity, I think he's a guy who's gonna rack up on tackles. He's gonna be an intimidator. Like I like his physical ability, and I seen which I saw in preseason. And he's a guy I think could be a good blitzer. Yeah, we'll see, man. It's hard. Like Glenn said, it's hard to say because it's limited opportunities. We haven't seen him with the bullets flying. We only seen him in preseason games. So we got to see him with getting the opportunity. Deluxe said to George, it says, okay, Percy's a good one. Didn't understand that one. But the team has quickly moved on from Forbes, Davis, Jahan, etc. They were about production for most part. So yeah, I agree. Paul said people, JD was your best runner. So what are we talking about? That's not supposed to be. It shouldn't. Yeah. You mean that's a good thing or a bad thing, Paul? Because that shouldn't be a good thing.
I think he probably means it's a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. This is my thing. But JD kind of I think it's a little bit. I think the running game was a little bit of both, right? Some backs weren't finding the holes at the time. I felt like towards the end of the season, and also later getting bullied. I mean, sometimes I feel like B-Rob was getting overly criticized because some of the blocking was horrible. It was atrocious. Like as soon as he said height, the ball, there was a man in the backfield. And I think by watching, if you really want to keep it a bean and really watch like the Eagles, the games against the Eagles, there was no running lane for nobody. They bullied that line. So I think, and then a lot of people use the Eagles as the why B-Rob started struggling or whatever. But B-Rob fumbled, I think the first game. He fumbled a lot the first game against the Eagles. And I think that's his fault, right? But in terms of really finding running lanes, that wasn't on him. That was horrible blocking, to Glenn's point. You know what I mean? That O-line was getting bullied. And the Eagles had we saw that in the Super Bowl. The Eagles had one of the best defensive lines in football. So that's not defensive the best defensive line in football in terms of like stopping the run and just owning that line. So that's to Washington. To be fair to Washington, to be fair to like the running game against a team like that, they weren't going to like they weren't set up to be successful against a team like the Eagles in terms of running the football. That's why Jayden, you got to utilize Jayden's legs, in the read option, because that's the only equalizer you do have in terms of like if you want to run the football, like you sink everybody in as Jayden against a linebacker. You'll take that matchup any day of the week. You know what I mean? So I get that, like in that situation, but the line has to be better. You know what I mean? For B-Rob to be effective. Glenn, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say one more thing about the defense, man. I think you talked about turnovers, and I forgot to mention that this defense has to get more sacks. And there was times where we allowed quarterbacks to get away. Yeah. Right? We allowed quarterbacks to get away. Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
So let's be honest. The New York Football Giants almost won that game if Neighbors doesn't drop the football.
That's true. But so what's all right? So let's go there. What's the ceiling? We got to stick to the thing. So what's the ceiling for sacks? What's the ceiling for sacks?
Ceiling for the sacks. This team has to be within the top 6 or 7 with sacks, man. And it's hard to do. It's gonna be hard to do with no pass rusher.
I'm gonna say like this. What's the real ceiling though? Like
the real ceiling.
Not what you hope, but what's the real ceiling? What you hope?
Real ceiling for sacks. This team is out of 32 teams. This team is probably 20th in sacks.
Dang, that's the ceiling. Oh shoot, that's tough. That's tough. Jordan,
because I don't believe in the pass rushers. The front four got to do what they got to do. Somebody got to be Ryan Kerrigan and just clean up what the front four did.
I'm with you. Look. I don't know about. That's a ceiling. That's tough. I kind of can't argue that though. George, the ceiling for you with sacks for this team.
Mine wouldn't be much higher. It's middle of the pack. In terms of sacks, it's middle. I think if they're in the middle, if they're near the top half, they're anywhere from say 15th to 17th. They've probably done better than certainly done better than what's on the paper. They will have done better than on paper what they should do. But if they balance that out by being way better in run defense, we got a better secondary. It all works out, does it not?
Oh, I like. We'll see about that. That sometimes it has to go hand in hand. But that's a whole different beast. I like this. So Deluxe said the team was 12th in sacks last year. Yes, they were. So, but that's a good point, Deluxe. I agree with you. But they're now losing a guy who had 10.5. And Fowler. So are they better? Like that's the question. Are they better without Fowler or with it? Because you lose a guy who had 10.5. I'm not a big, and I'm not a Fowler dude for real. So I'm just saying that.
I'm not a Fowler dude, but what I am understanding this, Fowler sometimes was at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Right. But you also realize Fowler got sacks because you had a Jonathan Allen that was really playing. You had Deron Payne that was really playing. So Fowler sacks, there. You also had people that was flushed, and some of Fowler sacks came in late in games too, where teams just had to throw the football. Because
I will say this about Fowler, like I'm not saying that as a whole that they're better. I do think that I don't know if they have a better pass rusher on their starting unit than Fowler, though. What I mean by that is, like, Fowler is one-dimensional. So, Deluxe, I know what you're saying, but he's still one-dimensional. He got drafted to do what he did, like, this season. I'm not saying that he's, like, awesome, but I don't think they have anybody on the defensive end as an edge rusher that is better than Dante Fowler at what Fowler does, because he's bendy, he's twitchy, he's athletic from the edge. They don't have anybody like that. So I won't say this is to be fair to Fowler. Like, again, I'm not the biggest Fowler fan in terms of setting the edge and stopping the run, but I do think that if you tell him to go get the quarterback one-dimensional, I don't think Washington has a guy that's better than him on this roster right now in terms of doing that. And I'm not saying that he does that at an elite rate. I'm not calling him elite as a pass rusher, but I do think that with his quick twitch, his speed off the edge, they don't have a guy like that. So I can't tell you, is Baptiste going to be better than that? I can't tell you that. Is Doris Armstrong? They both played together last year. He had more sacks than Doris Armstrong. So it's not like these individuals are going to be. I can't tell you they're going to be better than them. So to be fair,
go back to when we were talking about the draft.
Yeah,
a lot of people thought we were taking an edge in round one for that reason, and they ended up. I don't even think they drafted an edge player, did they? Or if they did, it was late.
No, they didn't. There's no edge.
And so it's And Deluxe, you're right again about that. But what was the biggest criticism of Washington's offseason? That they did not get a pass rusher to replace Dante Fowler or upgrade. They did.
And I want to address this though. This is what it is. I like Nuvu a lot, but Nuvu is a blitzer. He's a blitzing linebacker. He's not a putting your hands in the dirt linebacker. He's not like it's not like Micah. It's different. Like he's a guy that he can find his lanes. I prefer Nuvu's better off when he's blitzing free, not in the dirt rushing as an edge. That's not his strength. It's just not his strength. You know what I mean? Because you're not getting the best out of Luvu if you're doing it that way. Because you saw it towards the end of the season, he started like being non-existent as a pass rusher. You saw it. Because then you know what I mean? Because you're gonna wear him down that way. That's what I'm saying. Like he's better off as a blitzer. Cole Talker says the defense plans on getting sacks by committee. Yeah, definitely. That's the plan, but they got to get better at. But just because you want to be getting sacks by committee, dudes got to still win. Your committee got to win. That's the thing. Like the committee still got to win. So we talked about all the ceilings, right? I think we kind of broke down all the ceilings. So George, I'm gonna go to you, bro. Like, let's start with the overall projection of the team. What is the floor for this team?
In my opinion, if Jaden Daniels plays most of the season, the floor is 10 wins.
Got it. Okay.
Like if we are worse than that, then we have taken a step back.
Okay.
10-7, lose in the first round of the playoffs. That's the floor. And I know that's probably going to seem a little extreme given that before last year, I thought they were going to be a 7-win team last year. But that is what Jaden Daniels does for you. Having a player of that caliber at quarterback who's produced what he produced in year one, you should be a double-digit win team, especially in a 17-game season the rest of the time, especially if he plays and completes 14 out of 13 or 14 games in a season. You should be a double-digit win team, and we got a better backup quarterback than most folks as well. So if he has to get in there 2 or 3 games, we should still be able to win those like we did last year, by the way, which we did. So for me, 10-7, losing round 1 in the playoffs on the road, that should be the floor. Anything worse than that, depending on how it happens, would concern me greatly.
Coach Lombard says projection says 9-8.
I will be very disappointed, Coach Lombard, if that's correct. I will be very disappointed.
I mean, I think over. If you're talking about still over 500, that's still not like I ain't horrible. Glenn, go ahead.
I gotta agree with George. The floor has to be this team has to be 10, right?
Okay.
The reason it has to be 10, you still and it has to be the right. This has to be the right 10, right? That's what I said is correct 10. You have to beat. Not the deaf and blinds. I mean, they're not like they have deaf and blind on this or on the schedule. But you.
I love.
I know Deluxe, right?
I love Deluxe.
You
gotta play the game. Let's play the game, man. We know we trying to do.
I'm like you,
Deluxe.
Show
content.
Hey, Deluxe,
play the game, George.
Hey, Deluxe, go 1-0 every week, right? Go 1-0 every week.
Play the game, bro. Stop having common sense. Play the game, man.
But they gotta be Kansas City. Right? Yeah. You need to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. You need to be quality teams. This team can't just beat teams that are under 500, right? Yeah. This team has to be quality teams. 10-7. Losing the first round. I want to say on the playoffs, second round. I expect this team to be in the second round or greater in the playoffs. I just do.
That's the floor for you.
Yeah,
second round.
Yeah, because you get to the first round and they lose, it's like, especially if you're 10-7, like what happened? Right? Everybody's talking about sophomore slump. Everybody's talking about something's going on with Jaden. Right? Because the ceiling for this team is high.
It's high.
To the point, the ceiling is too high that anything less than the NFC Championship game to some fans and to some people, not me, but for some fans, is going to be like, hey, that is a failure.
So
I don't think it's a failure because it's hard to get back there.
That's what I'm saying. So this is my thing. I think the floor. is like I still think they're getting the postseason. I think the floor is still the postseason. I think 10-7, 9 and even 9 because the 9-8 can get you the postseason. Because to your point, it's still like the division got tougher. It's not going to be easier. Like some teams have gotten better. Like don't get it twisted. Like this ain't going to be last year's.
The Giants ain't cupcakes.
They're not cupcakes. Cowboys will be better, even though I dislike the Cowboys. They'll be better because what they did in the draft, they'll be better. Although the NFC East is going to be probably the best division. I mean, I think the North is going to be pretty hard too. But the NFC East is going to be probably the best. Like to me, I'm biased. The NFC is going to be the best division in football. All right, it's going to be the best division in football. So with that being said, like 10-7 is fine. I think they'll get into the postseason. I think the floor is losing like the first game in the postseason. That's the floor to me, because like you may not host the game. The defense, because again, I believe in the offense. It ain't nothing about the offense. Like we talked about this earlier. It ain't the offense. I'm not confident in the defense. I feel like Jayden may have to do like the floor is. Like Jayden's gonna have to do a bunch of work to carry this team on if the defense doesn't pan out.
Yes.
So to me, the floor is like, all right, Jayden's plays well, gets us to the postseason. But all right, like we can lose the first game or whatever. Like that's how I look at it. Like that's why I say that. It's not about like Jayden going downward or the offense. I think the offense is going to be potent. I said this. I think the offense still leads the league in scoring, but that doesn't always, when you talk about playoff football, that doesn't always translate into having a run in the postseason.
Right.
It doesn't. Because again, you're going to have to be a multifaceted, like you're going to have to win the time of possession. If your defense isn't, if you got to make sure that you definitely can win the time of possession because your defense is that bad, then that's a lot of pressure, right? Like you're going to have to hold the football. You're going to have these long drives like we've seen in the past. Or you're going to have to score, like you're going to have to put so much pressure on the opposing team. And in the postseason, you're playing the best of the best. You're not playing the sorry teams. You're playing the best of the best. You know what I mean? So I just feel like the floor is okay. The defense isn't as good as, or it hasn't improved. It's about the same or maybe a little bit worse. And now Jayden's going to have to carry the team. So that gets us to 9-8, 10-7, whatever. But it's still a postseason team. They'll get into the postseason and maybe lose the first game. To me, that's the floor of this team. And I think that's not bad, right? That means you're in a good place. If the floor is getting to the postseason and losing the game, like you're getting back to the postseason.
I think I'll be happy. I think as a fan, I'll be happy this team makes the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Exactly.
Right?
It's consistency.
And consistency, and that they're in a conversation towards the end of the season. So
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Tyler said at the end of the day, it is an offensive-driven league. Yeah, but you still need to – all right, but you can say that, but why did the Eagles win the Super Bowl?
Defense win championships, man.
Why did the Eagles win the Super Bowl? It wasn't like the offense was good. That defense was not letting Patrick Mahomes off the hook. You on mute, George.
Sorry about that. The Super Bowl was won because the Eagles' defensive line destroyed the Chiefs' offensive line. Period.
It's an offensive league. But when you get to the playoffs, I ain't gonna lie to you. It sounds good, but if you go back and look at some of these winners, them defenses has been lit. Even Kansas City, when they was winning, like people want to give Pat Mahomes all the glory. Them defenses were doing work. You
That's
know
it.
what I'm saying?
Deluxe is right. It's everything, and we tell people, and we tell players, Deluxe is here. I'm gonna put this up real quick.
Not just O-line though. Not just O-line. The O-line was good, but not that good. Go ahead, Coach Deluxe. Go ahead.
But championships are won in the trenches.
Thank you. I agree with that.
Championships are won in the trenches. The offensive line.
What sabotaged Detroit was all their injuries on defense. They were down to bare bones on defense, but by the time Washington turned up there in the middle of January.
Paul, the old saying is the run the ball, stop the run. I agree. Run the ball, stop the run. Yeah, that's it. That works in playoff. See, that's the thing. That works in playoff football. It always does. Playoff football, you stop the run, you run, you'll be in the game. Period. You will be in the game. That's what like as good as somebody can throw it, air it out. I ain't saying you will be in the game. Like it will be in the fourth quarter and the game will be tight. Regardless. If you air it out, there's a chance you can turn the football over. and and there's a chance you'll get blown out. Like that's what happened against Detroit. Like Detroit, they tried to be cute and air it out, and Washington picked them off, and they won the game. Instead of getting the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs, they would have been in the game. That's what I'm saying.
By the way,
they would probably win the game.
We're all old enough to remember when the NFC East dominated the NFL by dominating the trenches for over a decade plus.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. Deluxe, for all those that want a highly paid DN, can you name a top DN that hasn't recently that had recent playoff success? DN?
Chris Jones is one of the only ones.
Chris Jones,
I would say.
Von Miller was like had that vicious run. Who else had
Von Miller won an MVP.
Yeah, vicious run. Who else had won a Super Bowl? Like killed it.
I was gonna say Chris
Jones.
He
said recent
with the Chiefs.
Yeah, Chris Young. Yeah, because that's the only team that's
the most recent one I know of.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, I mean, there's guys who dominated. You know, I feel like, and you don't have to be depending on. Like the Chiefs have won the last couple bowls, so it's to be fair, it'd be Chris Young. It would be Young. It would be Chris Jones. It would be Chris Jones because they're the only ones that won the bowl. Yeah, but he plays in though. They move him around though. They move Chris Jones around. He's a dominant player. I feel like Versus like that too. I ain't gonna lie. Jared Verse almost single-handedly beat the Eagles by himself. Ain't a lie. Like he almost beat the Eagles by himself.
Oh, the Rams could have just found a way.
Yeah, almost beat the Eagles, but they could not block him. Yeah, to pause, they could not block him. That was that was dominating. Like, and yeah, they could not block him. Facts. I mean, he's in the DM, but he's like, they move him around. Though. They move him around. He lines up.
They move Von Miller around. Come on, let's be honest.
That's Von like, Miller, you know what? Like,
okay, he's an elephant position, like Terrell Suggs.
All right,
like these.
All right, I'll give you that, like a defensive. All right, if you want to use that, I mean, but they're guys like the Chiefs have won the last Super Bowls. That's like not the fairest thing to go because they won the last Super Bowls. Like they've been in the way. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to go outside, like they've been dominant playmakers. Like, shoot, I'll be real with you. Like, he's not a defensive end, but they wrote like if you look at the Rams that year, the Rams won. They had guys killing. Like Von Miller played well. I mentioned Von Miller. Obviously, you had my guy who retired. He was playing end too, but Aaron Donald is amazing, but he played everywhere. It's not like they had like you know what they had dominant defensive linemen though. Washington doesn't have a dominant defensive lineman. You want to use that argument? They don't. We can put that out there. What's the last team who didn't have a dominant defensive lineman and win the Super Bowl? I could do that too. We could play that game. Does Washington have a dominant defensive lineman?
Not yet.
All those teams, like we can. The Eagles won the Super Bowl. They have a dominant defensive lineman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City does too, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then we go. Washington doesn't have a dominant defensive lineman.
Nope.
So we can use that argument too. That's what I'm saying. We can, like, you need, regardless of you need Aaron Donald, dominant defensive lineman. Now name teams that have a good, like, they won Super Bowl. Like, I just named them all. But I would say not even, you're looking at D-tackle, dominant defensive lineman, period. Put it that way. Just put dominant defensive lineman. Like, they have. And if you want to go further back, there have been defensive ends. You said recent, but the recent's going to be jaded because all the teams that won. There's one team that's won. Like I'm gonna be real with you. It's been like one team that's owned the freaking Super Bowl of late. If you want to like use that, like that's not the fairest argument.
I mean, I understand the point Deluxe is trying to make, and it's a fair one. But let's understand something. We all saw what happened in that game up there in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And this defensive line, if they somehow get that far again, whether it's Philadelphia or Detroit or Tampa or whoever it is, they're going to have to stand up and be counted because they weren't in that game. And that's the overriding, abiding memory that we all have. And you know why? Because we're going to go through this whole season. Anytime Washington does good, anytime Philadelphia does bad, anytime you talk any mess to Eagles fans, what you're going to hear? 55-23. You're going to hear it every damn week until we play them in December.
Tyler, I agree. I think we're scoring 30 points a game every. I think so too. I think we score 30 almost every.
No,
game.
and Tyler, I think that's will
agree
be
with you,
pretty
Paul.
good.
Paul, this is basically my thought process. Yeah, this is what it is. Like
It determines how far we can go because I think we're going to be successful because of this offense because of Jaden.
I mean,
but how much is
success is what you call success. You know what I mean? I think it goes to it. Like I do feel like
10
this
wins,
offense,
at least
10 wins.
10 wins at least.
You're still gonna have to stop people to get 10 wins. You're gonna have to like.
Hey, Ty would tell. Hey, George. So,
yeah.
I was missed the ceiling. Is the division part of the ceiling?
Oh, no question. No, they have to. The number one seed in the NFC and winning this NFC East is the ceiling for me. Because, I mean, yes, they could go on the road and win the NFC Championship. Sure, they could. Because you got Jaden Daniels, you can do just about anything. Look what he did last year. But I would like to not have to repeat another trip to Philadelphia or a trip to Green Bay or somewhere like that in January. I want us in January to be at home because I think it's going to make it because I think after last season, I think this fan base is ready like it's never before. And I think we might actually have a home field advantage for the first time because I think people are not going to give these tickets up as easily because of Jaden and because of what this team has done and because of the change of everything. We can have a home field advantage for the first time since we left RFK Stadium. So I want to be at home in January.
My man Kelly I like Kelly's question. He said, should we get rid of Payne when his contract is up or keep him around? Oh, dude, we should definitely keep him. This is going to get the best version of Deron Payne. Like Glenn said, this is going to be the best version of Deron Payne.
I mean, he's going to have a great year, and I don't think there is a scenario where he's a Washington Commander in 2026.
I think like Joe Witt said, he came in looking lean and mean. They like his attitude coming into the season, and we saw like Glenn said, we saw how he was in that contract year the first time. Look, man, he go play with he got some motivation. He's got some motivation, so I do think you can get the best version of Deron Payne. I agree with Glenn. I think, like Coach said, I think Payne's name is better than his talent. I think Payne is very talented. I think he just he's not the it's what motivates him. That's going to be the thing. What motivates him?
His contract is better than his talent.
Yes, that's
you want to say that.
I think you'll say that. I think Payne, but I think
I don't want to go as far as Mo because if Mo
but it's what Glenn said though. I think it's the perfect thing. But also to be fair though, too, we gotta see it week one. That's the fair thing to say.
Yeah.
Right. But we've seen it though. We've seen how to do plays with a contract.
But not only contract, also you realize this is one of the first years that he doesn't have Jonathan Allen. He knows that he doesn't have Jonathan Allen.
Yes, facts.
Playing with him.
Here you go. Deluxe said to your point. Deluxe says, do you think Payne typically plays better without Allen? I don't know. I felt like he played. See, you think you say that, but I don't think so. I thought the year he had a good year, he had Allen throughout, and he was killing.
Right. How much Allen makes him better? But how much does Allen take the double teams or the opponent the wrong off? So I think they needed each other. This is I'm not calling them Kobe and Shaq by no means, but it will be interesting to see how they work without each other.
Yeah, I do think that the dependency, now he won't have to be dependent on Allen, will probably make him a better player. But if I tell you the body of work, I can't tell you he's been better without Jonathan Allen. I won't do that. I think he's been better with Jonathan Allen. That year he had that awesome year. Jonathan Allen didn't miss any games.
No, he didn't. He was there.
Yeah, he was there. It's not like I think people want to say it because they got annoyed with Jonathan Allen, but Jonathan Allen was taking double teams. Exactly. Yeah, he takes double. Yeah, exactly. So
Payne to get double this year.
Man, so to be real with you, there's I agree. I can't curse. I know what you said, Tyler. Allen does a lot of selfless. You know what? Yes, he did. He did with Payne.
Yeah, him and that person is no longer there. Never mind.
Yeah, but go chill out. Selfless. He said selfless. Selfless. Not selfish.
Oh, my bad. I need to clean my glasses.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree. Yeah, so I agree. Philly does that. Yeah, he said Philly does double team Allen all the time. They do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a fair That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to say that he's going to be better without Allen, but I do think there is a level of the training wheels are now off. Like now I gotta do it without him. I gotta prove that I'm better. Like I'm good without him. You know what I'm saying?
And everybody got to step up because let's be honest, everybody was high on Johnny last year, and he got to step up too.
Mm-hmm. DT
that whole front four has to show people need to know their names by the end of the season.
Exactly. Like, and that's the thing. Like, okay, you know what? You mentioned it. You know what? I didn't say the ceiling. All right. No, I'm going back to ceiling. Glenn, because I know you have what's the ceiling on my man Jazon Newton, man? What's the ceiling on my man Jazon? We're doing all of this stuff, man. Glenn, George put this topic out here. I'm kind of feeling it. I ain't gonna hold you. What's the feeling on Johnny, man? What's the ceiling on Johnny?
He got an all-pro. That's the ceiling. Okay. That's the ceiling.
Ooh,
the ceiling for me. The ceiling for me is the ceiling. The ceiling is the ceiling for him has to be all-pro, right? Okay. And I say this because here's the argument I'm gonna go by. The argument I'm going by is Deron Payne is gonna command what's going to get what Jonathan Allen used to get, which is the double teams. Somebody got to step up. Somebody else has to fill the spot. True. So guess what? Johnny has to be that guy because
or Kinlaw, right? Or Kinlaw, right? Because then Kinlaw.
Oh, Kinlaw.
He's getting the money. He's getting the money.
Yeah, but man, Kinlaw, the ceiling on Kinlaw is to play 10 football games.
Yeah.
Kinlaw's ceiling is to play 10, 15 football games, right? And that'd be like, I'd be great just to play games. But
you guys are tough on Kinlaw. I thought Coach Lombard was tough on Kinlaw. Y'all are tough on Kinlaw too.
Man, I ain't tough.
George, he hasn't performed. I mean, I'm sorry, you can't. Yeah. He hasn't performed. And he got paid, and he paid because maybe you know they see something we don't see. But because
Adam Peters they got him. Because Adam Peters that's his Adam Peters guy.
Yeah, but Adam Peters guy, Adam might be a Kinlaw whisperer. I don't know, right? He might be a Kinlaw whisperer, but he hasn't seen it yet. So again, but yeah, Johnny to me, the ceiling for Johnny should be an all-pro, at least in the conversation.
Yeah. Hey Tyler, like what's I mean, I'm not hating on him. I just feel like I'm just going body of work. What has Kinlaw done so far in his NFL career? Not to be like to show you that you have faith in it. Is it because of his size? Because I'm cool with that. Like, what's your belief in Kinlaw? Like, because he was supposed to be like the state after it's Armstead, George. That was Armstead. That's who he replaced.
Oh, Armstead. Yeah, that's right.
He was supposed to replace Armstead, and when they traded him away to the Colts. So I'm just like, what is Kinlaw's like for you? What makes you feel like Kinlaw's going to take over? Because I ain't gonna lie to you. I think Jazon is better. Personally, I'm just going to be real with you. Like, I think Jazon could be more of a playmaker than him. But I know he's a body that, because everybody gets fixated on he's big. But that's not always the thing, though. If you be big and not stop anybody. Like, it ain't like he Gilbert Brown. Gilbert Brown was a dude that was big and stopped folks. Yeah, I know. They tried to get rid of him, too. But he was good. He's good in a system. But him in a good system, and he'll flourish. All right. I mean, I just feel like he hasn't really panned out. That's all I'm saying. I'm only going on body of work, bro. That's all I'm telling you, Tyler. I'm going on body of work. And the body of work, he ain't been that person. Now, maybe he can be. I'm just going on body of work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying like he can't be. He's got like the physical tools. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he doesn't have that. But your body of work, your physical tools can get you so far if you ain't show it yet. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Because he was supposed to be Armstead's replacement in San Fran, and then they got rid of him. And San Fran had San Fran rotates D tackles. They're good at it. They're good at that position. They were good at developing that line. They're really good at it. So, and they couldn't work with him. So that's all I'm saying. If he work out, it's fine. He says, I think he's this year's Fowler. Oh, I hope so, bro. Look, know what? If that happens, bro, I come back on this show and I'll be like, bro, you was right. If you right about that, bro, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? Coach Lombard played 3-4. That's what he played 3-4 with the Jets, right? Not with the Niners though. With the Jets. But yeah. So, but I think back to Newton. I think Jazon could be. Deluxe said Newton double foot surgery had to hinder. I agree with you. DQ has said he looks more powerful. I agree. I think he's going to have a really good year. I do agree with Glenn. I think that the ceiling with him is definitely. I think he's an all-pro caliber kind of player. I just don't know.
The Vapors talking about all-pro.
Yeah, I do think he's a ceiling. So I kind of agree with Glenn. I think that's a ceiling. But you need to. the reason why I say like it's gonna be hard because he's gonna need the time to do it. Like he's gonna need to burn the reps. Because I feel like getting Kinlaw and with that contract that dictates that Kinlaw has to play. Like that contract dictates that. Like it dictates that he's gonna have to see more snaps than Newton. Now, granted, like everybody's talking about they're gonna rotate guys. Some guys are gonna be playing defensive end, this, that, and the other. But I don't think that those guys be playing defensive end a lot, right? For that to happen. I think in certain packages you'll have them in defensive end. But I'm with you, Glenn. I kind of with you, bro. I think that the ceiling for Newton, yeah, all pro caliber player. I saw him in Illinois. I know what time he's on. He's a problem. And I do think that like last year, that's why I knew like for me, I wasn't going to gas him up last year because I knew he was coming back with that surgery. You weren't going to get the best out of him. He came back hurt. Like you're not going to get the best out of Drazan that, you know what I mean? The best out of Drazan in year one where he's coming, like he's basically coming off an injury and thinking he's going to walk in and be the savior of this, like a secondary dog for this defensive line. I knew that was going to be a thing. I knew he would have some struggles because he wasn't 110%. Now, a whole offseason, healthy, going into it, you're going to get the Drazan. Like, you're going to get what you thought he was going to be his rookie year. That's what you're going to get out of Drazan. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, he flashed. Because a lot of people are hyping flash plays. You're not going to get the flash play stuff. You're going to get consistent play. Now, it's all about how much burn he gets within this rotation. Kelly said the only expectation I have of Goldman is that he stops the tush push shit nose. We'll see. No one's stopping that thing. Man. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Nobody's stopping that thing. Ain't nobody stopping that tush push, bro. I ain't gonna hold you.
No, you have to play dirty to try to stop it.
Agreed. Yeah, the only reason why he was a second rounder.
That's true.
Only reason why.
And that's why they took him because he should have never fell.
Should have been a second rounder. He shouldn't have been a second rounder. He should have been mid-50. He should have been a mid-first round pick. That's how good he is. Timothy Parks had 5 sacks last season with the Pats. Yeah. Wise is gonna. I think Wise will. I think Wise is gonna be the edge rusher. Wise may. You know what? Wise may be the guy that may have a Fowler type season. I can see that actually. I can see Wise doing it. I really can't see Wise getting a Fowler type season having Fowler.
Okay.
Like, I can see it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I can see it. Because Wise is bendy. He does get pressure.
Wouldn't be mad at it.
I can see it. I can see Wise getting about 8 sacks. I can see that. Tyler, going to be harder to tush push against Kinlaw and Goldman for sure. Really? Do you think so? Is it? No, look, it's like 100%. Like the tush push typically works like almost all the time.
No, if you want to stop the push, you got to hit the quarterback late. And
like it kind of works all the time.
Do it anymore.
But with Jalen Hurts, I ain't gonna lie. With Jalen Hurts, it kind of works all the time. That's why I hate to play so much. I hate to play with a passion. Tyler said Newton had great film, but aside from the injuries, he was short armed. Yeah, he was short arms, and he had short arms. Excuse me, and it's kind of small for an NFL D lineman. You'll see how strong he is healthy. Like there are some guys like truth be told in terms of like he's just a dog. He's just strong as hell. But like if you look at the size of like Aaron Donald, he's just strong as hell. Like he's not like the biggest D tackle in the world. Like he's just strong as hell.
He's strong and he has a quick get off, man.
Exactly.
That's what you need as a D lineman. You got to be strong.
Yeah, you don't have to. There you go. You got it. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna. Yeah, I think Newton's gonna be something. I think Newton could be something nasty. Like I do think that's the ceiling. But all right. Go back into the to the floor. All right, what's the floor of the defense?
Oh God, I think you're talking about bottom 10.
Yeah,
bottom 10 of the league. Maybe bottom 5 or 6. If we're wrong about the secondary, if Bobby Wagner's our only productive linebacker, or Bobby Wagner and Louver are our only productive linebackers, if this defensive line stinks it up again, especially against the run, that's the floor you're talking about. And then the whole, well, we're going to lose every damn game 45-42 thing becomes something that's more plausible.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Glenn? What's the floor? What's the floor for the defense?
The floor for the defense? Oh Lord!
The way you said that. Go ahead.
Look, gracious. Man, this team can stink up the place, man. If they don't fix the run, they could be giving up 150 yards a game, man. They could be averaging that, and so the floor for this thing is like worse than last year. I mean, the floor for me is last year. If they put up last year's stats, that's the floor.
I mean, like to the Deluxe point, they were like still ranked 16th, I think.
Yeah, but as a total defense because there was a bend don't break situation. Remember, they would get to the teams. Look how many teams got to the red zone and then score touchdowns against this team.
True.
This defense was better in the red zone than they were in the middle of the field.
True.
So to me, anything the floor is last year's numbers, but with turnovers.
Fewer turnovers.
Yeah, well, more turnovers. They have to
that'd
create
be good,
more.
man. I ain't gonna lie to you. If they
have to create more turnovers. Which means Joe Witt, because remember when Joe Witt came in here and Dan Quinn came in here, we thought the secondary would be what Dallas was.
Yeah, we don't get more turnovers. I know.
We don't get more turnovers. We need to get more turnovers.
I think the floor is definitely not able. Like I'm gonna be I'll be specific. I think not stopping the run. So that's the same problem. And I am 100. I feel confident the secondary is going to be better, but I do worry about safety. Other than my guy. What's my guy? From Illinois, like who had the pick six? Quan Martin. Other than Quan Martin, I don't feel like I'm not really a believer in with the safety play. So I'm gonna say the floor is that's tough. The floor would probably be ranked. Their defense would be slightly worse because again, I do think there's a possibility the defense could be worse. Not saying that it is. There's a possibility. The floor would be the defense is ranked like 20. They take 5 steps back. They're ranked 20th, and they're not getting that much. They're not getting that many turnovers. That would be like the floor for me. Oh yeah, and that would be my floor. Bottom. Paul said like floor is bottom 20 versus the run. Okay. Yeah, said floor is bottom 9. Washington's floor is bottom 9.
Yeah.
I
don't
don't
be
like.
A tough year if they're down there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tyler. Will Harris replacing Chin is definitely a stretch. I totally agree with you. Yeah, Clowney would help this defense, but we ain't getting Clowney. I put that on another show. We're not getting Clowney though. That would help this defense because it would definitely. Quan Martin is not overrated. I didn't say Quan Martin's overrated. I said Quan Martin. See, Coach, you be trying to get me.
Clowney's overrated in my book.
He ain't overrated. Clowney just had Clowney ain't rated. I can't. You talking about his rookie? Like he ain't rated that high. Clowney just had. Clowney had 9.5 sacks. Not too long ago, like the year before last, and missing 5. He had 5 sacks and missed a lot of the season last year.
I mean, he would help because he'd be a pass rush specialist. He wouldn't be playing down 1 and down 2 most of the time.
What it is
it's like second and long.
Is Fowler better than Clowney, Glenn? No, he's not. Look at the stats. He's not. I'll make it easy for you.
No, I see. To me, right?
He's not.
Clowney, he's not. I put Clowney in the same.
I know you're gonna Chase Young. I know you're gonna do. I know. I'm a fundamental guy. He's not fundamental. Look, I'm just telling you, Clowney has like 4 or 5 years. Like he has. If you look at his stats, you'd be surprised. He led the league.
His stats are great, and
No, he's not. I'm with you. Like the thing about Clowney is. I'm gonna say this in the correct like Clowney's underachieved. That's a fact.
Right.
I'm not going to even say he isn't.
Right. Correct. I'm
just saying that you could underachieve and still be good. You may not be great, but you can still be good. Like Clowney is like a guy who's always up there and like he's up there when he plays a full season. He's up there in hurries because he gets a lot of pressure in hurries. And again, he has a bunch of years when he gets like 9.5 sacks, 9 sacks, 9.5 sacks. He's just a guy that you want him to get double-digit sacks. And he just really doesn't get he hasn't really had like that season of double-digit sacks like that.
Yeah. You want him to do well.
Agreed, Deluxe. He's a hired mercenary.
Deluxe, great point. That's exactly what he is. Hired mercenary. Who's make a good career out of being a hired mercenary too.
This is why I like, and Tyler, this is what I love about you, Tyler. This is why I would take Clowney. This is like. He said Clowney's been one of the exactly. Edges that stopping the run. Exactly.
Because he's long. If you get him
look,
because he's long.
And that's good, right? For with this team, we haven't fouled. If they stop, was he setting the edge?
No.
Stopping the run?
No.
Exactly.
No,
that's all
he
I'm
wasn't.
saying. Totally get it. I really think that John Baptiste will be starting at one of those spots this year. I think so too. Actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he will be starting. I do think he'll start.
He had glimpses last year.
I don't know. Again, he glimpses. I look. He's got a good pedigree. Like he was at Ohio State before he transferred to Notre Dame. So he was a player for Ohio State. He's definitely a guy that I feel like he has ability. And if you watch him in preseason, he had a sack in the regular season. I think. So he showed flashes. I would like to see him work a little bit more. I do like him. It's just hard for me to say like he's definitely going to be good because of the body of work. He didn't get the opportunity to kind of get the reps that he needed. But like you said, Glenn, I thought he flashed a lot.
Yeah, he flashed a lot last year.
Our D right now is suspect. Clowney is better than as an edge at the edge. Yes, he's better. He's better than Fowler. And if people are like we're concerned about Dante Fowler, then yes, Clowney's an upgrade.
But he also got to fit in the locker room, and that's the difference.
No, I think he will. He was in Baltimore, and they loved him in Baltimore. That's what I'm saying. If you look at similar locker rooms, that's how I'm with you. If you look at similar locker rooms, they like him a lot. They like him. They like him more.
He'll conform. So.
Yeah, and especially if you want to this is the thing when you're playing. To your point, Glenn, I think if you come in here for Jayton, you know what time it is.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
You trying to get that ring?
Yeah, exactly. He had a high ankle sprain. Yeah, I know. Totally agree with you. He was there definitely. That would be a good fit too here for defense. There's some edge rushes out there that I think would be good for Washington. I do agree with that. McLaurin and the Commander's not close to an agreement. Yeah, that's a thing.
That's a whole different show,
That's a thing. I ain't saying nothing about that. That's a thing.
He can't sit out, so it doesn't matter.
He can't what?
He can't
sit out.
He can't sit out.
He can sit out, and he will sit out if he doesn't get the contract.
He's not worth $37 million.
He's going to sit out if he doesn't get his contract.
You missed that episode though. You wasn't here that day.
So, I know I heard it.
But he's not worth 30. He's not worth $37 million.
Look, Terry worth anything for me. He worth whatever he want. Y'all know where I'm at. Y'all know. Look, y'all know where I'm at. Well, Terry, y'all know where I'm at.
Terry and his agent are crazy. $37 million.
Look. Y'all know I was right about Terry from a lot of y'all were hating on Terry. Y'all know where I'm at. We here. We here.
3 years, $100 million, $70 million guaranteed. I think that should get the deal done.
You better pay Terry. That's what I'm saying. I ain't saying go crazy, but you better pay Terry fair value. Call it what you want. He better get paid fair value.
His fair value is not $37 million.
He better get fair value. Whatever fair value is, he better get fair value. A lot riding on train.
Even my man Paul agree with me.
Paul don't care. Paul be like a certain people anyway. He turned on Terry too a while ago. All these dudes turned on Terry way back. You know what I'm saying? I'm on, and when I
thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach.
Coach the Eagles, man. He don't count.
No. Thank you, Coach.
Man, he don't count. Look, all these dudes turned on Terry. I'm the one.
Olay stuck with him.
Look, I stuck with him. All these cats that saying they can go. And then when Terry started frying, they started jumping on my bandwagon. Oh, yeah, you right about Terry. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I know it's right. I know I was right about Terry. I don't hate none of y'all, man. Look, I'm cool with that. Hey, I'm cool with this. Thanks, Deluxe, man. We here, man. We here, Deluxe.
Yeah, that's
I'm cool with this number, man.
Yeah, that works for me, Deluxe.
All I'm
that's
telling
the right
y'all,
deal.
Look, all I'm telling y'all is that something like Paul, I ain't know Paul because when Terry that season started, you was one of them too. Nah. So when anything you say about Terry, I don't want to hear it.
Look. I know this ain't the show, but you know what it is, right?
What?
You know what it is. Is DK Metcalf getting $33 million from the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers?
And he's not. And DK, and he should get more than DK.
Right. And that's what it is. He feels he get more than DK. And he should get more than DK. DK drove the number up. Stupid.
That's the
Steelers
market.
drove the number up.
It's the market. You should get it. That's the market.
The market works.
That's the market works.
DK Metcalf is making more than AJ Brown, and we know that's not right.
Exactly. That's the market. That's all I'm saying. He should get fair market price. That's all I'm saying. But you ain't gonna give me look. Oh yeah, look, Paul. Look, ain't worth 34. Paul, you don't matter to me in this point. I ain't gonna lie, because you was against Terry. You was one of them. When you one of them, I know how you rock. It don't matter. Like you don't like now you're looking for a reason to slide my man Terry. Like it don't matter. It don't matter. I didn't told look. I'm only folks who's with Terry and then make this argument. I'll listen to you. But if you was against Terry the first couple of weeks last season and say he ain't a number one, you ain't with me. You ain't with me. You were saying Terry wasn't the number one. You ain't with me. That means I know where your argument is at. I know where you at. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, DK 27 years old. I know, yeah, but still ain't doing this what Terry can do. Terry work with bums, though. Terry is working with bums and putting them numbers. You know what I'm saying? But AJ Brown, yeah, he's the number one. Yeah. So is Terry, though. AJ Brown, so is Terry. AJ Brown got an offensive line that he can sit for days and run the whole route tree. Terry don't got that. You know what I'm saying? Look, AJ Brown quarterback can sit, stand up, get up in the pocket and throw the football, and he'll be open. Terry got to win quick. Terry got to win quick. If Terry don't win quick, his quarterback going down. Hey, tell me when I'm telling lies, bro. Tell me when I'm telling lies. I'm gonna use that. Hey, Glenn, you know what I'm talking about. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
Yeah, I had to go there.
Tell me when I'm telling lies. What?
You have to sit down cross-legged.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the mic in my hand. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
Right.
All right.
No lies here.
Yeah, you could say, AJ, look, you could, look, you loyal to the, nah, you weren't loyal to, look, you loyal to, nah, man, look, man, look, you talking about he don't deserve that money, but I know he was coming from last year. So I know that Terry, you can sway a certain way. Terry important to this squad, bro. He does more with the locker room. If y'all talking about locker room chemistry and play on the field, he a leader. That adds on everything.
I do think, to Paul's point real quick, I think this team can win without Terry.
I don't think so. Them dudes don't step up. Who's stepping up? Who was stepping up last year? When they needed Terry.
Let's be honest. Terry was crying because Noah was getting targets.
Noah was dropping balls. All right. Noah's getting targets. He was dropping balls. Jaden wasn't connecting with Terry. You know, who won that? Who won that Cincinnati Bengals game with Terry? Who won that Cincinnati Bengals game? Who's making all the tough catches? What we won't do is that. What we won't. That's when it started. Glenn. That's when y'all tried to diminish my man. That's where it started.
Well, no, and I just want to ask this question to Glenn. When you say you can win without Terry, like, what do you mean? You mean like 9 wins, 10 wins, 11 wins? What do you mean?
What I think was, if you can this team without Terry McLaurin, all right, here it is. You can win about 8 or 9 games because Jaden's gonna win you 3 by itself, right? Jaden's gonna win you 3.
But that's. Again, if they can win 8 or 9 games without Terry, so what?
So how many games? And I'm looking body of work, right? Not being a whole. How many games did Terry win for us last year? Jaden spreads the ball around. Jaden spread the ball around.
How many games he won?
Jaden spread the ball around, but Terry makes the big catch.
Who made
Cincinnati to win that game?
Why do they?
And then his screen pass turns the Detroit game.
You don't think Debo Samuels can make the big catch?
No, not like that. No, he can't. He doesn't run the route tree like that. We're not going to do this. No, he doesn't run the route tree like that. That's not his thing. Like
okay, hold on.
No, he don't run the route tree like that.
Hold on. When we talk about ceiling, we talk about ceiling and floors. If Terry does not show up, what is his team ceiling?
Good job. I like that. I like that question. They're going to win 9 games, or maybe even
9 or 10 wins. Yeah,
or even 8.
They might sneak into the playoffs, but they're not a contender.
You know what? I'll be real with you. They're not going to.
They're not a contender without.
They're not going to the playoffs without Terry. They're not going to the playoffs without Terry.
That's a fair assessment.
I'm not. They're not going to the playoffs without Terry.
I mean, Glenn, can they be a decent team without Terry? Sure, but they can't be a championship contender without Terry.
They're not going to the playoffs without Terry. Can't. Yeah. Thank you. Can't. No, he can't run the right. He can't even run the. Yeah, I'm telling y'all. I don't know what we doing here. Like, no, we're not. No,
and that's
like,
fine.
That's not his
by
thing.
The way.
And I'm like, I like Debo, but I'm not gonna put like deep there. All right, why? What's a dude that got busy last year for the San Francisco 49ers that wasn't even supposed to be their number one receiver? What's the kid? Oh, jeez, Because what's that? Ayuk went down, and it's the other dude that kind of got that flourish. I can't even think of his name, but like that was supposed to be Debo's role. Debo wasn't.
You talking about?
Shucks.
Now I'm drawing a blank.
You know what I'm
talking
about
Jennings, right?
Yes,
you talking about Jennings.
Jennings is the one that erupted. So what do we like? I'm not. Debo is a dude that could take he could take a 5-yard hitch to the house, but he's not. And I'm not saying that Debo's awesome at what he does. But we're talking about going against your number one corners or whatever and beating those number one corners. We don't got a guy on the roster that can do that other than Terry. That's a fact. I'm not even making that up. Like Kyle did things to scheme up situations for Debo to do his thing and put him in space. But I'm not. But again, he could still Debo's still good enough to do it. I'm just saying we're talking about what Terry's asked to do. You talking about winning game? Does that count? The play that everybody's talking about? Man, we should the kicker missed that kick against the Cowboys. Do we even score that if it wasn't for Terry McLaurin?
Oh, see, I'm not doubting his ability, right? I'm not doubting what he brings to this team.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this team has enough pieces in place that they can still win without Terry. What I'm saying is I'm not doubting Terry McLaurin's ability to make this team better. He's still not worth $37 million, and I don't think one player besides Jaden Daniels can make this team any worse.
All I'm saying is bro, you relying on Luke McCaffrey to make this team so much better. Like who we relying on?
What I would rely on if you get a running game, you can rely on Zach Ertz.
Bro, they're not beating nobody.
You can rely on Noah Brown. You might rely on old
Noah Brown just hurt himself in the off season. He already hurt himself. Who are you gonna rely on?
You got Jalen Lane. You got Lane.
A rookie. Like you were like now. Look, this what I'm saying. Like if you had to play
without, but if you had to play without Terry,
that's what I'm saying. You're weaker. Regardless of you're weaker. You're not strong, bro. Like all right. I'll give you an example. All right, and that's the case. And as good as I think Jamar Chase is an animal. They got T. Higgins. Are they better without? Can they still win games without Jamar Chase? Are they better with can they win a lot of games with Joe Burrow and T. Higgins? And T. Higgins is the number one. He's a quasi number one. Can they win more games? Can they? Are they a better team? I mean, not a better team. I don't use that word. But can they win without Jamar Chase?
You can have to win different ways. Yes, you can have to win different ways. You may have to change your stuff, but you can win different ways. My point is, you can win different ways without Terry McLaurin. You can run the football different. Cliff Kingsbury can do more screens different. You have the players that's there if Terry McLaurin does not show up. I'm sorry.
Timothy agrees with somebody agrees with you. I'm not going.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying Terry's a bad player. I'm not saying Terry doesn't contribute to this team. I'm not even saying Terry's not a locker room guy. What I'm saying is that Terry is not worth $37 million. I
agree with you, Deluxe. My man can do whatever it takes to. I know. And it's okay though. You got people look, my man Timmy. I put everything that's out there for folks. No. What do you mean? Preach. You know what I'm saying? Timmy said preach. I agree. So I want to make sure everybody gets every side is taken care of. Look, Paul, my point is 37. Paul, I don't want to hear your point. I'm listening to my man Glen. Look, I'm listening to my man Glen. Paul, I don't want to listen to you, Paul, because I told you.
Paul, I agree with you. He's not worth 37 million.
You was against my dude, so I don't care about your opinion because you was against my dude last year.
Yo, that's Justin Jefferson money, right?
No, Justin gets paid way more. He's gonna get paid more than that. Look, man. At the end of the day, like George said, well, how much did what's name get paid, George? How much did for the DK get paid? Because y'all looking at it differently.
Because it was 33 million, right? That's what
look at how much. All right, know what? How much is my man Brock Purdy getting paid? That's my point. You're looking at it something totally different. It's the market. The market is the market. That's how sports are.
But Justin Jefferson is getting $35 million a year.
He's about to get more than that next year because the market.
Jamar Chase is getting $40 million.
Yeah, it's the market. The market is the market. At this point in time in the market, if you're looking like what George said, DK's getting 34.
Yeah, DK's getting 33.
33. Terry gonna ask for 34. He gonna get 34. You can say 37. He getting 34.
I'm not mad with 33 or 34, but I'm mad against 37.
The market. You're going to get market value. The market is the market. You're not going to do 30 if somebody you're better than is getting 34, 33.
Well, AJ Brown is getting 32. Terry better than 30.
When his contract comes up, that's how the market works. When his contract comes up, he's going to get more than that. That's how the market works.
Right now, you got 30 mil last year.
And Terry's going to get way more than that. And Terry should get way more than that.
And the other point that's got to be made is you're talking about changing and setting a culture. Terry McLaurin was integral to that.
Yeah.
It's the wrong message if you just say, we're not going to give him a new deal. And if he sits out, we're not going to do anything about it. You're torpedoing that locker room potentially. You're torpedoing your own culture.
I know we got to run. We've been on here. What if Terry McLaurin's deal hinders Jaden Daniels' deal? And that's what you got to look at.
He's on a rookie deal. That's not possible. That's not even a thing.
But look how many people you got to pay. You can pay Terry this year. You got Larry Tunsil. You got to pay.
You pay Larry Tunsil. That's fine. There's 2 people. That's it. Who else you got to pay? Who else you really got to pay? They got 1-year deals for a bunch of these dudes they don't care about. Let's keep it a bean. A lot of these dudes, they that's why they sign these 1-year deals. A lot of these dudes on rookie deals. The dudes they care about on rookie deals. Nobody on this. That's what makes it even remarkable. They can pay him if they wanted to. They can easily pay him. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's an issue because I think he's getting paid. So let me put it. He's gonna get his money. So let me put that out there.
I think he's getting his money, but it won't be 37. I think he gets his money.
I don't think he's getting 37. I think people are like still fixated on he's gonna get his money. And like my man Deluxe says, it's gonna be more on like guarantees or whatever. He's gonna get his money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If you want to guarantee money,
he's gonna get his money. Like I want to say
his whole contract value probably went somewhere around 150.
He's getting more than 32. I'm ain't gonna lie to y'all. He's getting more than 32 mil. Believe it or not, he's gonna get more than 32 mil. I think it's about 33 to 34, to be real with you. And because it's the 30, I don't think it's 37. You know what I'm saying?
34 puts him where he's supposed to be. Sorry.
That's fine. I don't care about 37. 37 don't bother me. I just think he's gonna get his money. I'm saying he's getting his money. He's gonna get, and it's gonna be even if he gets 37, it'll look like it's 37. It won't be 37. It'll look like it's 37. That's all I'm saying. He'll get 30. Like you may see average rate 37. He won't get 37. You know
look how much we totally got derailed by one comment about sports contract.
Exactly. See, look. You go. What you do? Like, look. You know who I am, George. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know who I am, George. Y'all talk to Terry. Y'all messing with me. You talk to Terry. You messing with me. You know what I'm saying? This is what I did when my man Lake came at me. It was like, well, Terry. I was like, what?
Wole stood on business when it came to Terry McLaurin from the jump last year.
And look, I'm a Michigan fan standing for Ohio State dude, so you know Terry real to me. You know
that's
real.
Right.
You know he's right. But like Glenn, so we about to close this out, man. I appreciate everybody for like jumping on with us, man. This has been dope. Great show.
Yes.
George, great topic as always, man. You picked a great topic to talk about. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that. It's been a great night. VCU had a player drafted right at the end of the draft. I'm made up, completely made up over here.
Yeah, I know you want to trade him. Yeah, look at you. You want to trade Terry now. Look at you. Paul. Look, so I told you Paul traded him comes to Terry. He ain't really a trade. He ain't a Terry dude for real. He trying to play that thing off. He had to accept Terry because Terry did what he's supposed to do. Showed him that he was a number one. You know what I'm saying? I know. Look, man, I know when people they real feelings behind the scenes. I know how y'all are. I know. That's why I know how y'all are. I know some of y'all don't really like Terry for real. That's why I be sitting back. That's why every time I'm on social media when he do something big, I be like, yeah, he number one. I know some of y'all. I do it on purpose. I know y'all. Even the ones that be trying to cheer for him now. I be like, yeah, I know who y'all are. I ain't forget.
Well,
I ain't gonna never
all
forget.
Receipts.
I got receipts, bro. I got receipts. I be chilling
long
with
as
them
a CVS.
Yeah, I be chilling. with my receipts. You know what I'm saying? 34 mil. Yeah, 34 mil good, bro. That's what I'm saying. I'm with 34 mil.
No problem, 34.
That's a good deal. Look, 37 is a lot. I ain't gonna hold y'all. It's a lot, man. 34 is cool. But I think, hey, you gotta play the game. You gotta camp. If you don't ask for it, how you know you ain't gonna get it? You gotta try to stay on business. Look, man. This is the last deal for Terry, bro. This is the last big deal for Terry.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I used to like, look, man, look, I did. I used to like Dotson. I was on the Dotson. I was. You know what? You the same dude that tried to size. Who's the Jets quarterback? Who sucked?
Wilson? No.
You're right, Wilson. Wilson, he's right. You the same dude with Syster Wilson. Exactly. Leave me alone. Exactly. We ain't doing that here. BYU dude, like, oh yeah, he's gonna be nice. We should get him. Yeah, he's some trash too. Look, man, we all got our L's, man. We all take L's. He's still in the league. He's still trash though. Because he's a quarterback. They'll keep anybody in the league. How long did Blaine Gabbert stay in the NFL?
Oh, Josh Johnson's still in the dadgum NFL.
Exactly.
Good gravy.
He did, right? Nah, he's talking about not Dotson. Doxson.
Josh Doxson. Oh, God,
yeah.
Josh Doxson.
Oh, yeah, Dotson. Yeah, 18.
Hey, shoot.
That was
Chase Daniels. Chase Daniels stayed in the league for like 10 years.
I'm telling you, quarterback stay. You can be trash and stay.
That Josh Doxson draft, we were supposed to get Quentin Nelson and the Colts jumped in front of us. Ouch.
Like DeMarcus Russell, bro. You stay in the league for a minute as you're a quarterback.
Purple drain.
Yeah, they'll keep you in the court. Like quarterbacks, man, got some bad quarterbacks in the NFL, man. Some bad
don't they?
That's all I'm saying. Like, I think if you don't pan out a receiver, you're gonna be out the league. If you're a bad quarterback, you can stay in the league. Yeah, Jahan changed when he stopped carrying the football. Carrying the football everywhere. Anybody else notice that? Yeah, he did. When he did stop doing that. He used to carry the football everywhere, and he stopped doing it. Jahan had some issues too in terms of family too. I heard so at that time last year. So it is what it is. But you know what? He ain't here no more. He's the Eagles' problem. He's not my problem. Is he still with the Eagles? Is he still in the contract? Awesome. That's a shame. Too bad for him. He ain't getting no playing time. Anyway, y'all, appreciate y'all for being on, man. Y'all been dope. But I gotta remind y'all to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Errything. Also, tweet us at ABG_Errything. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_Errything. Also, if you're watching this on a different platform, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and also hit that by hitting that red subscribe button and also like this video. Everybody who's on here now, hit that like button now. Like. So it does well for our algorithm when it comes to Commander stuff. So I need y'all to hit the like button right now. So I'm gonna wait for y'all. Waiting. All right, claim this.
Subscribe to the Urban Sports Scene.
Thank you.
Subscribe to the Urban Sports Scene.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, y'all can subscribe to Urban Sports Scene as well. But right here, it's all about All Burgundy and Gold Errything. You know what I'm saying? We gotta make sure y'all hit that like button. Like it. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Anyway, man, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold Errything, powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. For ages, deuces. We are out. Peace.